Hello super friends and welcome to DC TV Talk, and in today's episode of the show we are going to be discussing the episode 5 title of Arrow season 7, as well as discussing the potential return of a fan favourite villain, that being Ras Al Ghul. So let's discuss. So yes, the title for episode 5 of season 7 was officially released by the CW, and we've now learned that it's going to be called The Demon, and with that, this has led many of us, including myself, to wildly speculate about, could this be hinting at the return of Ras Al Ghul to Arrow in season 7? So let's dive into it. Now, just in case you've forgotten, or perhaps you haven't watched this season, Ras Al Ghul was the main villain, or the big bad, of Arrow Season 3. He's a very famous Batman villain, and they basically took a Batman storyline and basically just replaced Bruce Wayne with Oliver Queen, where Oliver Queen was basically chosen by Ras Al Ghul to take up the mantle of the Heir of the Demon and the mantle of Ras Al Ghul and to replace him. And that's basically the huge Batman storyline from the comics and also the animated series, and they took that and gave it to Arrow and gave it to Oliver Queen. Now, Ras Al Ghul, I thought he was pretty good. I think he was a decent villain. He's not my favourite villain of Arrow. He's kind of towards the bottom of the list in terms of my ranking of the Arrow villains. I liked him. I didn't love him. I think he was okay. Just because I didn't really feel like the Arrow's portrayal of Ras Al Ghul was as good as it could have been. I think, they could have actually done a bit of a better job of making him feel like this big superior force, whereas I never really felt that with this version of Ras Al Ghul, especially in comparison to like the Dark Knight trilogy, what they did with Ras Al Ghul with Liam Neeson's version. It wasn't quite the same, but I did like Ras Al Ghul, and I'd definitely be interested to see him return. I mean, he was killed off, but when's that ever stopped the villain from coming back in the past? So how could he actually return? If he is dead, how is he going to come back, and what could bring him back into this story? Well, if Ras Al Ghul is going to return, I feel like he could actually be linked to Roy Harper. Now, hear me out here. Obviously, we know Roy, he is coming back as a series regular next season. Now, last time we saw Roy, he actually left with Thea and Nyssa to go and destroy the last remaining Lazarus pits that were found around the world by Malcolm Merlyn. Now, obviously, Lazarus pits are linked to League of Assassins. League of Assassins obviously linked to Ras Al Ghul. What about if Ras Al Ghul actually, perhaps a disciple of his, found his body and actually brought him to a Lazarus pit and revived him? And this is what has caused Roy to come back, maybe? Or maybe this is just something that Roy got involved with when he was out there, was he actually came across Ras Al Ghul. Obviously, I don't have all the inner details. I can't predict that. I'm not a writer on the show. This may be completely false. I may be looking into this way too much. But I feel like maybe if Ras Al Ghul is going to return to the show, I feel like he could actually be linked to Roy Harper. Also, given what Stephen Amell said the other week, he was saying that, fans have not guessed and will never guess what is actually going on with Roy this season. Obviously, a lot of us are speculating that he's actually the guy who's suiting up as the Green Arrow. He's actually the one operating as the Green Arrow in Star City while Oliver is in prison. And while I still think that is true, what about if this whole thing about fans not guessing what would happen to Roy and what's going on with Roy? What about if it's something to do with Ras Al Ghul, a villain who nobody expects to return? It'd be quite an interesting way to take it, and definitely a cool place to put Roy when it comes to season 7. But what about if it's not Ras Al Ghul? Well, obviously there are two other candidates who this could relate to, one of them being Nyssa Al Ghul, one daughter of Ras Al Ghul. And obviously we've seen Nyssa on Arrow many times. She's been a major character on the show since season 2. And she did also come back in season 6, and she also left in the same time as Roy. As I said, Roy went off with Nyssa and also Thea. So maybe this has something to do with Nyssa. Maybe Nyssa's going to come back in this episode, although I'm pretty sure if she was coming back in this episode, we would have known it by now. But yeah, it could be something to do with Nyssa. Maybe she's involved, and again, maybe that's why Roy has come back. I feel like Roy needs a real good reason to actually come back to Star City, and I feel like if it's something to do with this, with like the Al Ghuls, it's definitely worth it. So maybe Nyssa is linked to this in some way as well. Now, the only other option who this character or this title could be relating to is the other Al Ghul, and that is Talia Al Ghul. Now, we met Talia in season 5, and last time we saw her, she was on Lian Yu as it blew up. Now, odds are, I'm going to say Talia Al Ghul is dead. I'm going to say she died on the island, because the thing is, as far as I remember, I may be wrong here, so correct me in the comments. I believe we were never actually told the fate of Talia Al Ghul. I don't think we were ever told if she survived. Same with Evelyn. I don't think we were ever told if them two characters survived or not. So this could be an opening for Talia to return to the show. And I'd actually like to see Talia return. I think she's a really cool character, and I actually really liked her interplay with Oliver. I thought she was very good. I like the actress who plays her. And also, again, Talia Al Ghul, pretty big Batman character, so to see her come over to Arrow was really awesome, just from a DC fan perspective. so I think it'd be cool to bring Talia back to the show. However, I think out of all three options, this is the least likely, just because, as I said, odds are I'm going to say she's dead. I'm going to say she died on the Lianyu explosion, so even though I don't think we've been officially told that, I'm going to assume that the writers kind of want us to forget about that character and just assume that she died. Now, of course, this whole thing about Ras Al Ghul, Nissa, Talia, and Roy, it could be completely off the wall. It could be completely false. This could be completely, me looking into this far too much. And this could be literally nothing. This whole title, it's called The Demon. That could just be a nickname for someone who's in prison with Oliver. Or it could mean something completely different. Obviously, I'm not saying that this is true. I'm not saying this is confirmed. It's not. This is a simple theory that I've come up with because obviously the demon is a name associated with Ras Al Ghul, being the demon's head. So it's a completely off-the-wall theory. It's probably not going to happen, but it's just something I thought was cool that I want to discuss with you guys. So do not take this, as true or confirmed. It's not. It's simply a theory, and it could be completely different. This title could mean something completely different when it actually rolls around. But what do you guys think about the demon? What do you think it means? Do you think it could relate to the Al Ghuls, Ras Al Ghul, the League of Assassins? Do you think it links to any of that? Could it link to Roy Harper? Or do you think it means something completely different and I'm completely wrong? Make sure you let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. It will help me out a lot. And share this video with anyone and everyone you know who loves DC TV and get them to join the community. And as always guys, please subscribe for your latest content on Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow and Black Lightning. And with all that said guys, I hope to see you again in my next video.